Oh, hello. Thanks so much for joining. We have Nadera and Nabeel. Can you please introduce yourselves?
Go ahead, Nadera. Ladies first.
Hello, I'm Nadera
Hi.
Ramoni. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi,
Nice to
Nid.
meet you. Yeah, I'm Palestinian living in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, an educator, an entrepreneur in Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
Very
Thank you
nice
for
to meet
joining
you.
us.
No problem.
Nabil Hamad, also Palestinian. Nadera is my cousin. Her mother and my mother are sisters.
Oh, sweet.
Actually, we're across the street from each other. She's at her mom's house. I'm at my mom's house.
Oh, sweet.
Funny as that is. Same thing. I run a business. Didn't really get into any of this or pay attention to any of this until October 7th. I mean, I did. I'd go to protests and I would make my donations and I would get involved. But it's been cranked up as I think it should be. At least
Yeah.
with me, Nadera for sure, and other people, and some others still. I don't think anything will crank them up. It's pretty sad in the Palestinian community. Um, the lady there from Palestine, Ohio. I mean, I pronounce it Palestine. I know the media has changed the pronunciation of the word from I think what it should be to Palestine. It's just weird. I don't think that's the way it should be pronounced.
Yeah.
But that's what they do, and I think you guys know that. So yeah, I've always pronounced it Palestine. So I'm going to be in DC in 2 days. I'll be down there for a
Me
protest. Yep,
too.
yep. You
Jill,
too.
you
Yeah,
will be there as well, right?
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
Are
yeah.
you
Me and my
Great.
brother and my
speaking?
other cousin. Sorry.
Yeah, great. Yes, I'm supposed to speak. Yeah, so we're
Awesome.
gonna just hit, we need to arrest the bastard is what we need
That
to
would
do.
be nice. That would be
Yeah.
really nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
so also I just saw breaking news that he has just touched down in DC
Wow.
an hour ago. So I know this is conjecture, but my question is, why is he a day early? What is he doing
Oh,
tomorrow?
It's
Because
2 days
he's
early. Yeah.
not just hanging out.
Secret
yeah.
meetings, before the public meeting. Jill. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Mhm.
meeting with his supporters here, who are criminals along with him, and who should also be, before the World Court of Justice, who should also have warrants out for their arrest because they are his enablers, and the violence that they are committing right now, the genocide that they're committing, is just completely off the charts. And I don't know how anyone cannot be fighting this with every fiber of their being right now. I think people are like either blinded or, ignorant or asleep at the wheel. Growing up myself after the Holocaust in a Jewish family, it's like we really embraced the idea that, number one, you can't commit genocide, but you also can't be a bystander to genocide. Anyone who is a bystander to genocide allows this to happen. They're enablers. And to me, it's just mind-boggling that people can look the other way. I don't know how they can do it. It's just horrifying. And we have to scream and keep screaming. And Nabeel, yeah, I'd love to hear how do you cope with this? How do you deal with this?
It's not easy. I do what I can when I can. My wife is actually over there right now in Palestine. She goes every summer. So we have. It's nice because there's still mistrust in the charities that are run over there. Some is mistrust and some is just used as an excuse because they don't really want to make any donations. So it goes both ways. But we have access to direct funding straight to people both in Gaza and the West Bank, and we do it on a regular basis. And we will collect from anybody that wants to collect. And there's people that are literally afraid to put their name on a MoneyGram or a Western Union to send over there. Well, we're not. I always tell them, $100. I don't think you can buy a tank or an F-15 with $100. I think we're safe, or even $1,000. So how do we cope with it? I don't know, man. You do the best you can. Nader, how do you cope with it?
We try to give back. That's what, we try to help. We actually hosted a kid that we lost on Christmas, and they called it a mistake in the Maghazi camp. We hosted him in 2019 through PCRF, and he came with one leg, went home walking with two, and Probably 30 minutes before he passed away, he called me mom. He said, "Mom, it doesn't look good," and that was the last I heard of him. So
That's sad.
so right now we're still working with Steve. I don't know if you've heard, he's the founder of PCRF, and he's with Heal Palestine. So right now we're starting, we're working and hoping to get another, kids that are coming in from Gaza to get in Harrisburg. They're coming in. We just had one in Philly 2 days ago, and Sacramento's getting, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of kids with amputees that, that's how we're coping. We're trying to do as much as we can.
That's great.
And it's the least we could do right now.
Well, the other coping is what I'm doing right now. Like, I feel good talking to you because I've seen you on TV. I watched a couple YouTube videos of you.
Yeah.
You say all the right things. I mean, I heard you talking to the lady from Palestine, Ohio, about the train and all that. And I think, I don't know much about it, so I can't really comment on it. But besides all that, you'll probably have to excuse me. I don't care about anything else anymore. There's nothing. There's all the other topics. I don't give a shit. It's all I care about is what's going on over there. You're the only one I've heard that said the right things. Biden is a fake. Biden has been a Zionist for forever. I'm not anti-Semitic. As you know, I'm Semitic. Nadera is Semitic. You're Semitic, right? I mean, it'd be impossible for us to be anti-Semitic. Because we are Semitic ourselves, but this is all we care about. I've heard you say good things. I just wanted to get on this call with you. It was neat that I had the opportunity. I did a little bit. I did a couple hours worth of studying, whatever I could find, and you hit all the right notes. So God bless you. And I know you're not doing it because it financially benefits you, because it's exactly the opposite. It's what the other guys do is what financially benefits them, and that's why they do it. I mean,
Jill, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that actually makes you more susceptible to trolls. The fact that you are so pro-Palestine, like when I'm looking in your comments and stuff, I'm like, I mean, it's just not sexy for people who are, Democrats and everything. It's just not. And those are the people who always come in our comments and like, just jump all over us. But you have been, I mean, you got arrested at a Palestine rally. We saw the cops absolutely brutalize Kelly. Shout out to Kelly. We've seen so much violence, and you were arrested with a number of other people, and that takes guts. I don't know well, you've been arrested more than once so for good reason, but that takes guts, and that is hardcore Free Palestine. That's one of the reasons I support you. And I agree that, like, I've been an activist for years and I'm passionate about so many things, but this is genocide. So yes, it is the top of everyone's mind. It is so beyond urgent. Nadera, how about yourself? Would you like to add anything on that?
I mean, you hit it all pretty much on the nail on the head. We've been in the encampments as well. Nabeel's wife and I, we cooked, and we've taken, the famous makluba. We flipped it with the students. So we've been supporting, so we're trying to do as much as we can as well. So, watching kids with their heads blown off and limbs, it can't become something that we're just so used to seeing or being okay with. So
exactly. Yeah. And everybody needs to own this, because we're normalizing the torture and murder of children on an industrial scale. And to think that we're not going to pay a price. We are going to pay a price. We are looking at the destruction of human rights and the destruction of international law. And the U.S. has been able to get away, and we're paying for that. I mean, the U.S. is providing 80% of the weapons, and, we're funding Israel's military and have been doing that for the long time. And way back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan's Secretary of Defense said that Israel is the unsinkable battleship for the U.S. in the Middle East. Why do we need an unsinkable battleship in the Middle East? So we can control Middle Eastern oil. And, this is a problem of empire and it's a very big problem. Gaza is the tip of the iceberg. It's like the tip of the spear here. It's a big problem. We're not going to fix it overnight, but we can stop the genocide in the blink of an eye. Could be stopped with a phone call. And, Reagan himself did that, not known to be a peace president or a justice president. He was moved to stop the Israeli army from committing its massacres in Lebanon back in like 1996. And with a phone call, he stopped it. And Biden could do that right now, could have done that ever since October. This could have been stopped. And, this is not something that started on October 7th. And I just always try to make that point so that people understand this is not something that Hamas started. This is something that's been hardwired into Zionism. Zionism is a program of ethnic cleansing that has used terror to basically try to push Palestinians out and acquire the land. And yes, many of the Jews who came were fleeing anti-Semitism, but that does not justify having been a victim of genocide, doesn't justify then becoming a perpetrator of genocide. And when the Zionists came, as you were saying, Nabeel, this is not a religion thing. This is a political ideology called Zionism. And it is that political ideology that brought conflict and violence with it, that Muslims, Jews, and Christians were living together in peace for centuries in Jerusalem. And the Zionists drove out not only Muslims, but also Christians and Jews as well. They're at war with all of them. And, this is a horrific movement which has been violent from the start, even from before the state of Israel declared its independence. Violence was being used to drive out Palestinians. So October 7th is just the latest expression of violence breeding resistance to that violence. And, we must stop the genocide. We must stop arming it. We must stop enabling it. And then we have to get down to ensuring that there's full compliance with international law here, which means ending the occupation, which in fact the World Court of Justice just ruled on, that Israel is illegally occupying, the West Bank and Jerusalem, as well as Gaza. This is all an illegal occupation. Israel needs to cease and desist, pay reparations, and allow the right of return. I mean, it's astounding that this court, which is from, people all over the world, including many from Western governments, having looked at the problem, completely align with what the Palestinians have been saying all along. And now there's just another institution of justice, as well as people all over the world, as well as the American people who all agree, and young people on our campuses. We're all aligned. The only ones who are not aligned, that is, who are taking the side of the occupation and apartheid and the genocide, the only ones are our elected officials, who are basically war criminals. We have to call them out. And every time we get on the ballot in another state, we're trying to ensure that there is an anti-genocide candidate on the ballot for all voters across the country, because voters abhor, despise this genocide and want to stop it. So if we have the power to vote on this, all bets are off about what could happen. And just by getting on the ballot, we give them notice that we are getting organized, and we are going to hold them accountable. This is how we can get them to stop even before the November election, just by getting on the ballot. And that's why, we really appreciate your being here tonight to help us raise funds, because that's what the funds are for. The Democrats are withholding the funding. We're supposed to have public funding to be able to get on the ballot and ensure that we are a choice for all Americans. They are holding on to the funds that we have qualified for and are refusing to give it to us because they are trying to block our progress here to hold them accountable and to stop the genocide. So this is exactly what the fight is about. Yeah, go ahead.
Is that because my mother's neighbor told me a vote for Jill Stein is a vote for Republicans, because obviously that's a pull away from the Democrats? And in my opinion, I don't know who's who anymore, right? Especially on the Palestine issue. Like there's like one and the same. So like I
Yeah.
think everybody should pull away from those and give a vote to a third party because they're not that different anymore. Okay, on domestic issues, yes, they differ. Okay, Supreme Court and stuff like that. I guess other people have different priorities other than me. Maybe in Nadera, like I told you what I care about. And I don't really care about anything else anymore. And then once maybe something happens in Palestine and we get it somewhat resolved, I could start caring about other things. But I just really don't. So to your point, we're going to pay the price for this. You said that, right? So there was three things about the United States. Okay, the whole world. They used to love us, respect us, and fear us. Okay, love, respect, fear. These two are gone. All that's left is fear. Okay. Now, when they're not laughing at us, they're afraid of it. They're laughing at us all around the world. They're laughing at us. Okay. So what's left is fear. The love and the respect, guys, is gone. I know people overseas. I mean, I have, my wife, she was born over there. They're laughing at us with the representation that we have and the government that we have and how we support solely, it's a unilateral support to Israel. There's really nobody else. I mean, Britain even weakened it, France and Canada. Like there's just not nobody left except us. Like the world is literally laughing at our stupidity in supporting these guys. So you're right. There is a price to pay. It's happening. Furthermore, Summer Lee, she came here. She had a great stance on Palestine. We helped her defeat the AIPAC supported candidate in Pittsburgh. I was very proud of her. Met her. She's a really great girl. Ilhan Omar, she came here to Harrisburg to meet with us. I gave both of them the max. I'm happy to give you something. That's why I'm on this call. I want to support you. You don't have to convince me. Maybe I'll even see you on Wednesday. I don't know if you're going to be there or not, or maybe at least I'll see Joy, but I'm happy to. However it has to happen, you send me some kind of link or something. I'm happy to make a donation to you. Keep doing what you're doing. I love your stance. And I know you're not telling me just what I want to hear because I've already listened to you many, many times. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been on this call. So, I mean, all I could say is God bless you. I wish you all the luck and all the power and all the success because you're the kind of person that should be running this country, not the other bozos that we're going to have to choose from.
Complete
I think
war.
we just got a commercial. Like, I think we just got an ad. That was awesome. Nadera.
And if I could just respond quickly to two things that you said, Nabeel. For one thing, as a member of the Green Party, we adopted this position. We ran Ralph Nader, who is Lebanese himself. He was our candidate in 2000. And in the year 2006, we took a specific position on Palestine and supported BDS and, specifically opposed the apartheid government and the occupation. So we've taken this stand for a long, long time before it was, even topical. We were on the money on this. So you can be sure we have been fighting this fight for a long time. But also the line that you're fed that a vote for me or a vote for a third party is a vote for Trump. Well, like you're saying, why is Trump the greater evil when it's been Biden and the Democrats who've really been the driving force on genocide? Genocide is the trademark. It is the hallmark of fascism. So if people are worried about fascism, well, it's already here. When the cops are bashing in our heads simply for standing up to resist genocide, we have fascism. When we have cop cities that are being built all over the country, and there are some like 70 of them now under construction, and the cops are being trained by the Israeli occupation forces, in these absolutely brutal techniques, when military equipment, armored vehicles and tanks and drones and tasers are being provided to our communities for crowd control, and to assert the kind of violence that the IDF, conducts. We have a problem here, and it's a bipartisan problem. And the myth is that the Democrats are better on domestic policy. They're better on the PR, but if you actually look at the policies themselves, they're not better. I mean, they too are separating families and keeping kids in cages on the border. They too are, are smearing migrants and targeting migrants and blaming, just inventing a crisis related to migration, which is not true at all. The cause of the migration crisis is actually U.S. foreign policy, which is driving people out of their homes. So the Democrats are very good at the PR and the spin, and even on the environmental policies, they pretend like they're solving the problem, but it's BS. They are not. If you actually are familiar with the details of the policies, they are just as bad as the Republicans. And yeah, absolutely. So I'd say it's really important not to take their propaganda at face value. They would like you to believe that the conflict, that people in Gaza are responsible for the genocide. They want you to believe that. And you can regard their policies about third parties with the same, it has about as much truth to it as their talking points about the genocide. So what they say should just be rejected as a matter of course. We are the ones, who can fix this. The Democrats do not fix it. And in election after election, they make promises that they don't keep. And, they're creating war all over the world right now. And what's going on in Gaza is also taking place in lesser degrees all over the world. And it's using half of our budget. So this hurts us here, and it makes it impossible here at home to ensure that we have the policies that we need for housing, for education, for healthcare, and for climate and clean water and all that. We spend so much money on war that it really destroys domestic policy, no matter what kind of lip service they give to this stuff. So it is BS, and it should all be rejected, especially that propaganda that tells you you are powerless. They want you to feel powerless because then you'll be hopeless and you won't hold them to account. So this is all about our standing up and using the power that we have, because most people despise the genocide and they want to stop it now. So if we have the courage of our convictions, we can stop this, and we can create a world that works for all of us. Take it away, Nadera. Sorry to.
Yes, our next guest is here, but I definitely want to hear from Nadera. Any thoughts you want to add, or for the audience to take away?
Like Jill said, our education system, we really need our funds in the U.S., and it's, I just agree with everything that's going on, and I really just want to go visit Palestine and see a free Palestine, and I want to see my people, have the freedom that other countries are able to have, and and live a normal life, and kids, see what our kids are living, and it's not fair that they have to face all this. So
absolutely. Well, thank you for all you are doing, because both of you are just helping so much, and thank you for joining and spreading your awareness and what you guys are doing, because it's so important. We need to keep highlighting Palestinian voices. That is so important. And I'm so fortunate that you guys are also in Harrisburg, and we do some great rallies around here. So thank you again so much for joining. I really appreciate it.
Can you send a link? Do you guys have a link?
Oh, yeah, we should give that. It's
she
my
has
name.
My text.
Yeah, we can text it as well, but for
anyone... Joy, we've been texting, right?
Yes.
Or WhatsApp,
I
or whatever.
Will send it to you.
Yeah. Jill, you earned it. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you so
I really
much.
mean it. I really do not give up. Trump doesn't give up, so you shouldn't give up, all right?
Yeah, you're not kidding. Yeah. None of us can give up. We need every one of us.
God bless.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.